Gotta go. But thanks. On with the show.
Hey, Fellow Mutants, welcome back to another video. I saw this one video, article, and I thought it was interesting. And it had to do with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. And I'm like, Spider-Man 4 and 5 films, like plan could have pulled off like an Avengers Infinity War cliffhanger. Now that is interesting. Really, really interesting. Um, so let's get the drop and actually dive into the actual article. So, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 and 5 were originally planned to film at the same time. What? In 2008, Deadline reported that Sony was planning to film Spider-Man 4 and 5 back to back because doing that is so cost effective, and the studio allegedly considered it is the best way to ensure that cast could reprise their roles for both sequels. The 2008 Deadline article also reported that Spider-Man 4 also hired the screenwriters for the Venom spin-off, which was cancelled after plans for Spider-Man 4 fell through. But then none of the members of Spider-Man 4's main cast were officially attached to the project, and Spider-Man's 4 main antagonist was still unknown. It made sense for Sony to fast-track Spider-Man 5 alongside Spider-Man 4, as it would have guaranteed a consistent continuation of Peter Parker's story. At $895 million worldwide, Spider-Man 3 was the biggest box office of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, $74 million above Spider-Man's $821 million and $100 million above Spider-Man 2, which was $795 million. Jeez, okay. Spider-Man 3 got much lower reviews, but general interest in the sequel was still high for a few years after Spider-Man 3's release. For a business perspective, it made sense for Sony to fast-track Spider-Man 5 alongside Spider-Man 4, so it would have guaranteed a consistent continuation of Peter Parker's story. If Spider-Man 4 presented the first chapter of the new story and failed, it would have left a worse impression than Spider-Man 3's poorly received plot. I don't know, because I don't have like issues with Spider-Man 3 like a lot of people do. I think there could have been like a shot for them like which I will admit before I continue my point. Spider-Man 3 is the weakest of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. I'll admit that. But I also say this. I think if given the shot, I think Sam Raimi could have smoothly recovered from Spider-Man 3. I mean, people still will have so much love for Spider-Man 1 and 2 that if they kept going with Spider-Man 4 and 5, and if they were good, I think they could have potentially forgiven how weak Spider-Man 3 was compared to Spider-Man's 1, 2, 4, and 5. If, assuming 4 and 5 were to happen. Of course, I'm saying what else. Um, Infinity War Endgame, Avengers Infinity War Endgame had a similar filming plan. Sony's early plans for Spider-Man 4 and 5 resembled Marvel Studios' filming for Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Not only did Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame tell two parts of a single overreaching story, but both movies were also filmed back to back specifically to guarantee continuity between the two installments. Infinity War and Endgame, dozens of Marvel characters required most of Marvel Studios' biggest stars to be available at the same time. Marvel filmed both Phase 3 crossovers movies not simultaneously, but back to back, as certain characters' physical appearance changed drastically from one film to the next. So Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were originally called Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2. I remember that. I remember that. I remember like when that happened and then when the name for what will be known as Endgame came out, I remember like the reaction to that saying, "Oh my God, Doctor Strange did tease the title in Infinity War." Oh, okay, you guys might be looking too much into it, but okay. It must have been easier for Marvel Studios to budget and schedule Infinity War and Endgame as two part rather than two separate movies. Marvel basically filmed a huge $1 billion project split into two, both of in terms of filming and release, in order to deliver a final chapter for the Infinity Saga that did justice to every major character introduced in more than 20 installments that preceded it. The decision was entirely justified as the 5-year time jump between Infinity War and Endgame is a key element in the Infinity Saga's conclusion. I can see that. I don't. I remember that was somewhat controversial, at least in some groups I was in, but I didn't have an issue with a 5-year jump. So, what Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 and 5 filming plan could have meant for the story. The split of Infinity Saga's conclusion into two movies is a clear in-story reason. Thanos needed to defeat the Avengers in Infinity War to cement himself as the biggest enemy the heroes ever faced. Avengers' defeat also motivated the survivors to do whatever it takes in order to bring everyone back and give some MCU icons a well-deserved farewell. If it weren't for Avengers Infinity War's heart-wrenching cliffhanger, the Avengers' victory in Avengers Endgame final battle likely wouldn't have been so satisfying that theaters roared the stadiums when Phase Three's final crossover movie came out. Like Infinity War, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 could have ended with a harrowing cliffhanger that raised the stakes for Spider-Man 5. How Spider-Man 4 could have achieved a similar feat is a mystery, but would have needed to be more dramatic than anything that happened to inspire in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. For instance, Vulture kidnapping Mary Jane wouldn't have caused the same reaction as Thanos snapping away half of all life in the universe, as Mary Jane was kidnapped in every previous movie. Instead, Spider-Man 4 could have killed off Aunt May or left Peter Parker's life hanging by a thread. That is true. That is true. Or like even like kidnapped Aunt May, as one of them says. Mary Jane, or maybe Mary Jane got bit by a radioactive spider in the after credit scene, and a lot of people say, "Wait, what?" Like they could have easily brushed it off as like a normal spider bite, but wait, there's more. And have the Spider-Man 5 start with Mary Jane getting bit, and the same DNA extraction thing that happened to Peter Parker in the first Spider-Man movie happened. But I think Aunt May getting killed would have been a huge what the fuck moment. But also, I can see that too. Peter Parker's life hanging by a thread. Or how about this as well? Someone in the Green Goblin suit stealing Aunt May, Lee, or and killing Mary Jane. Maybe not killing Mary Jane, but stealing Aunt May away, creating a lot of questions like: Is Harry back? Is Norman Osborn back? And to reveal, it could have been like someone else who's a Green Goblin enthusiast, or maybe it was Harry. Actually, no, it wouldn't make sense for Harry. Maybe Norman Osborn didn't die at the end of Spider-Man 1. I don't know, like, I don't know. It could have been crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 went through various drafts before settling on a story focused on Vulture, played by John Malkovich. Finch. Spider-Man would have also crossed paths with Vanessa Hardy, aka Black Cat, played by either Anne Hathaway or Angelina Jolie. I did hear Anne Hathaway was going to be Black Cat. Now, like, Spider-Man 4 getting scrapped was the reason why she played Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. So, in a way, Spider-Man 4 getting scrapped, or Anne Hathaway did not get in the part for Black Cat, was a blessing for Dark Knight Rises, because Anne Hathaway was a pretty good Catwoman. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't gonna lie. Anywho, um, da-da-da-da. In some drafts, Felicia Hardy's alter ego wouldn't have been Black Cat, but Vulture's villain daughter, the Vulturess. I forgot that in some versions, Felicia Hardy was the Vulture's daughter, I think, right? And Daniel Baker's Dr. Kirk Connors would have also returned in a bigger role, meaning that he could have finally turned into the Lizard. Other villains in Spider-Man 4 would have included Mysterio and Shocker and Stoat Man, who have been defeated effortlessly by Spider-Man in the opening montage. Huh? I can kind of see, if it's in the opening montage, I can kind of see Shocker, Mysterio, and Stoat Man being defeated. But I can kind of see, like, besides being effortlessly, like, us getting a cool shot between Spider-Man and those three separate villains, and Tobey Maguire's voice coming in to give us, like, okay, this how I beat this character, this how he came into being, his motivation, and how I defeated this character, that character, this character. So then, like, I guess Spider-Man 5 could have brought those that Sinister Six out. A two-part split between Spider-Man 4 and 5 could have turned Vulture into an overarching villain like Thanos. While plenty of information about Spider-Man 4 has been made public, little is known about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 5. None of the main villains in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy survived the events of their respective movies. That's not true. Sandman survived. He's like the only villain that survived because Green Goblin died, Doctor Octopus died, Venom died, Sandman's the only character, and even Harry Osborn died. It was like a villain for half of Spider-Man 3. Sandman's the only villain that's still around. Even No Way Home acknowledged it. Acknowledged it. God damn it. Um, None of these main villains in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy survive the events of their respective movies. Do not just debunked that, anyways. And Fulcher's relentlessly evil personality, evidence in storyboards for Spider-Man 4's action scenes, likely would have led him to a death similar to the Green Goblin's Doctor Octopus or Venom. However, two part story split between Spider-Man 4 and 5 could have turned Fulcher into an overarching villain like Thanos, and his death could have been reserved for Spider-Man 5 or perhaps even Spider-Man 6. Like I said, okay, now that I'm thinking of Sinister Six, because they were talking about what Mysterio, Shocker, and Stiltman on top of like Kurt Connors getting turned into the Lizard, and then Black Cat, and then like, Vulture. That's like six people, right? So Spider-Man like 4 could have easily had a secret ending scene, like after a credit scene, where Spider-Man goes to ask Flip Marco for help because he realized that maybe there was a prison break at Strike Island or something, and some villains are on the loose, or maybe that could have played into like the villains getting on the loose could have been the secret ending or the end of the credits, and then Spider-Man 6, Peter Parker teams up with Sandman to defeat the Sinister Six. Boom! There we go. There we go. I would not be mad if that gets turned into anime in the animation. Actually, I want that to get turned into animation if they don't do anything with that in live action. That would be so freaking badass, bro. That'd be so. Can you just? I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about all the possibilities that could get executed. Like, oh my lord. Anywho, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love y'all. Have a wonderful day. Guy and one other. Talk to you later, fellow mutants.